What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bios3 RAW TV. Today, what I want to do is something that I'm going to call story time. So we'll have these story time stories, excuse me, that I feel a lot of things have happened to me in my life, or some of my meathead friends when I was younger, and these stories can contain a message so that, there's always a lesson in it. So I'm figuring that if I give you guys some of my meathead stories, that passing this down is passing down information that some of you guys can use. So, today the first one is story time with Jerry on Bios3 Bodybuilding Saves Lives. Now, excuse me, bodybuilding saved my life more than once, but the one time that I want to talk about is when I was probably about 22 or 23, somewhere around that age. Where I lived, painkillers were a big issue. So people were popping pills, Oxycontins, Vicodins, etc., and I was no different than the rest of the crowd. I was popping the pills. And what had happened was I had gotten a cold and didn't take care of myself, and they wound up turning into bronchitis. Now, when you're taking these painkillers and stuff, you don't feel very bad, so you don't feel the bronchitis. You don't feel the issues that you're having. Yeah, you're coughing or whatever, but you don't feel bad because you're all doped up on painkillers. So now I go to work one night. I was actually a bouncer at a club. It's called The Strand out in Rhode Island. And at the end of the night, we're cleaning up, and I start coughing and spitting out blood. Now, at this point, I knew this is probably not good. This is definitely not good. So I went to talk to my boss. I said, I can't finish cleaning up. I have to go home. I'm really tired. I'm sick. I gotta go. So he agrees to let me go, and I get home. We used to live in an apartment downstairs from my parents, me and my girlfriend at the time. And in the middle of the night, I went upstairs to my parents' house, and I just collapsed on the kitchen floor. Now, I didn't even know I had collapsed, to be honest with you. I thought I was tired, and I had fallen down because I was tired. But I didn't feel well. I knew something was up. So my mom, being a CNA, she got up and took one look at me after she heard me fall. Was like, we got to go to the hospital. So, I thought I was, again, just tired. I needed to sleep. I needed to rest to get better. So I kind of didn't want to go, but gave in and went. So we got there, and they put the blood ox thing on your finger that clips on, tells you your blood ox. And the lady looks at it, and she looks at me, the nurse, and she goes, something's wrong. So my blood ox, although it's supposed to be like 95 or 98 or something like it, was like 70 or 65. It was very, very low to the point where, I shouldn't be functioning because it was so low. My brain wasn't getting enough oxygen, and that's why it collapsed. My lungs had filled with fluid so much that every time I took a breath, even though I couldn't feel it because of the painkillers, I wasn't getting enough oxygen to my brain, and that's why I collapsed. So she takes the thing off my finger, puts it back on, and she looks at it again. Again, it's so low. She looks at me, my lips were purple. And she looks at my mom, my girlfriend, and says, is he always this color? Like that purple, bluish color on his lips? And at that point, they knew, no, he's not, this is not normal. So within seconds, I'm on a gurney, being wheeled back in the ER. And they're pulling all my clothes off and stuff. They cut my t-shirt off. And they start putting IVs in me, and they start putting an oxygen mask on me and stuff. And of course, I'm scared because I don't know what's going on. I went in there feeling ill, and all of a sudden, here I am in the hospital getting all these things stuck in me. And come to find out, they didn't really know what it was. They knew it was some type of, lung problem that was going on. So yeah, like CAT scans, X-rays, they shot the dye in me to try to figure out what was going on. They did everything they could, but they could not figure out what was wrong with me, and I progressed to get worse. So I went from, on these oxygen masks, they have little colored strips. There's a green, yellow, and red, and I forget which ones are, excuse me, the least amount of oxygen to the most amount of oxygen, but I went from one to the next one, which was more pure oxygen, to the next one, which is more pure oxygen, and this whole time, they have no clue. They have no clue. I'm just steadily getting worse, and they don't know what to do. The doctors have no idea. They know it's some type of pneumonia, but they don't know what caused it or how to treat it, so they start giving me all these antibiotics. Now at this point, I'm kind of in and out of consciousness. So I'd wake up, and I'd see like my girlfriend there, or my parents, and I'd pass out. And then I'd wake up, and then some of my friends from high school and stuff were there. And I'd pass out, and my grandfather. I mean, people that, I couldn't understand why they were, or if I was dreaming. I didn't even know what reality was at that point. So fast forward about, it was 5 or 6 days. I wake up, and I have a full beard. I went in the hospital, clean shaven, and I have a full beard. My friend Christina, who's one of my best friends, is sitting on the bed holding my hand crying. And I'm trying to figure out, I kind of sit up in bed a little bit, which is very difficult when you've been laying in bed for 4 or 5 days, 6 days, whatever it was. And they look at me, and they're surprised that I'm sitting up and my eyes are open. So the doctors come in, and they're starting to take my vitals, and they're like, he's actually better than he was, yesterday. So what happened was, with all these IV antibiotics and stuff that they couldn't figure out what was going on, they tried an antibiotic called Levaquin. Levaquin is something for pneumonia, bronchitis, etc. And they didn't think it was going to work because they'd already given me more powerful stuff, but the Levaquin worked. So after a bag of Levaquin, I started to get better. So now we're at the point where I can talk. I'm not really sure what's going on, but the people that I kept seeing when I woke up were there because my parents were told that I probably wasn't going to make it. So people were coming to see me for the last time, figuring, that's it, he's not going to make it. I mean, friends, my training partner Donnie, his sister Paulie, all these people were at the hospital. And my friend Henry, he was in New York at an event or something like that. Somebody called him. He drove straight from New York to Rhode Island, still wearing his suit that he was at the event in, his coat, and he was in the chair, and he was in the chair in the ICU. I remember waking up, seeing him there, and I realized I just came very close to death, if not had flatlined a couple of times and popped back out of it, all because I had some case of pneumonia. Now, come to find out, working at the club, standing under the fog machine, the fog I was breathing in, which has toxic chemicals, gave me a chemical pneumonia. But I couldn't tell them that when they couldn't ask me questions. I was passed out. I wasn't conscious. So luckily, they figured out it was a chemical pneumonia, continued the Levaquin treatment, and in a couple of days, I had gone home. Now, before I went home, the nurse came in and she said, we're going to do a couple little exercises with you because you should be weak. It says that you said you're weak. So she pressed on my leg, and I, did a leg extension type thing. I stood up, I walked to her, I threw the ball, and she said, you're not, I don't think you're weak. And I explained to her, I'm weak for me, but I'm not weak for the average person. I mean, I'm still, I went in there about 250 pounds. I probably left at about 220 or 215. And then when the doctor came in, he started saying, the vitals are okay, you're ready to go home. You're lucky. You're really lucky because you were very, very, very close to not coming out of it. And he said that the only reason that he feels that I was able to live through that whole thing was the fact that I was so healthy and so strong, despite having my lungs full of fluid. My immune system was fighting like crazy, and I was so healthy when I got the pneumonia that's what saved my life. So that gym life, training, eating, keeping my body weight up, pushing heavy weights, keeping my immune system in check, all that stuff paid off more than an insurance policy, or an insurance could, because they're paying for the thing. That was my insurance policy. Training in the gym and living that lifestyle was my insurance policy, and it saved my life. So ever since that day, I kind of realized this is not just about getting jacked, being swole, walking in the gym and feeling like you're the biggest, strongest guy around. It very well saved my life that time, and who knows? I mean, there could be another time where it's going to save my life again. I don't take antibiotics. I haven't had antibiotics in like 4 years, 5 years, unless I'm really knocked down and out. I very rarely get sick. If I do, it's only for a couple of days. Like that flu that was going around here, people had for months at a time. I had it for about 4 days, and I didn't take antibiotics, and I got better. My immune system is very strong from what I do, and that's a byproduct of the bodybuilding lifestyle. So guys, see, it's cool to be swole, and it's great to be strong in the gym and try to be the biggest guy around, but you guys also got to understand that what you're doing has a byproduct of health. So this is my story to you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed story time on Bios3. And remember, bodybuilding is not just a lifestyle. It can also save your life at some point too. Bios3@gmail.com. Comments down below in the comment section. www.bios3training.com is the blog, and we're out.